Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko. Today we are going to talk about chapter 17, the economics of cooperation. The prisoner dilemma game is one example of a game between two captured prisoners. So this game illustrates why cooperation is difficult to maintain even if it's mutually beneficial for both of them. So in the game, in the prisoner dilemma game, they have a dominant strategy, which is a strategy that is best for the player in game. So they will follow that strategy regardless of the strategy chosen by the other player. Figure one deal with the prisoner dilemma. So two prisoners, Bonnie and Clyde, have to make decision either to confess or to remain silent. So in this game between the two criminals suspected of committing a crime, so if both decided to confess, so Bunny and Clyde will each receive 8 years prison time. So, however, if Clyde, Bonnie decided to remain silent and Clyde confess, so Clyde will go free and Bonnie will get 20 years, prison time. So on the other hand, if Clyde decides to remain silent and Bonnie confess, so Bonnie will go free and Clyde will get 20 years, uh, sentence. If both of them remain silent, so both will get only 1 year sentence. You can see that this is the best outcome for both of them, so at the same time. But however, this is the outcome which is likely to happen because both will confess, and this is the Nash equilibrium outcome. From the conclusion of Table 1, the prisoner dilemma game, we can see that because each pursues his or own interest, the two prisoners together reach an outcome which is worse for each of them. So cooperation between the two prisoners is difficult to maintain because cooperation is individually irrational. So the game oligopolists play in trying to reach the monopoly outcome is similar to the game that the two prisoners play in the prisoner dilemma. So firms are self-interested, so they do not want to cooperate, even though cooperation cartel will increase the profit. Each firm has incentive to cheat. So they will think that by cheating, they can increase the profit. But eventually, price will go down and profit, will go down also. Figure to deal with Jack and Jill oligopoly games. So they have to make decision. Jack and Jill have to make decision either to produce it 40 gallon of water, so or 30 gallon of water. If Jack decided to produce it 40 gallon of water, and Till decided to produce also 40 gallon of water, both will get, so a profit of $1,600. So on the other hand, if Jack decided to produce it, so only 30 gallon of water, while Till is producing 40 gallon of water, so Jack profit would decrease to $1,500 and Till profit would increase to $2,000. However, if Till decided to cooperate and produce only 30 gallon of water, and Jack doesn't cooperate and produce it, you know, 40 gallon of water, Jack will your profit will increase to $2,000, until profit would drop to $1,500. So if both of them decided to cooperate and then produce only 30 gallons of water, both would get 1,800, so dollar profit. So this is the better outcome for both of them. But this one is a nice equilibrium, what they try to cheat, and then they will get only $1,600, and this will likely happen. This outcome will likely happen. Another example for oligopoly game is OPEC and the world oil market. So OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, is a cartel. So it was formed in 1960 with only five countries: Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. So by 1973, so we had Qatar, the member grew to eight: Qatar, Indonesia, Libya, the United Arab Emirates, Algeria, Nigeria, Ecuador, and Gabon. So it's a cartel, so they control about 75% of the world oil reserve. So they control by cutting the supply, they can increase the price of oil in the world. So OPEC tried to raise the price of its product, which is oil, so by coordinate reduction in quantity produced. So they set a quota about how much each country can produce. So by setting the production level for each country member. So the problem was that the country wanted to maintain the high price of oil. So some of them try to cheat in that sense. The problem OPEC ran into was that each member of the cartel, attempted to increase its production in order to get a larger share of the total profit. So they were cheating on the agreement. So OPEC was successful at maintaining cooperation and high prices from 1973 to 1985. So this led to increase in the price of oil, and then it led to an increase of profit by the member of OPEC. By mid 1980s, member countries began arguing about production level. So some of them said, "No, the quota given to me was low. I want to get a bigger share of the market." So OPEC became ineffective at maintaining cooperation. So this led to a decrease in the price because country was increasing the quota, increasing the production. So you can see that in recent years, OPEC was less successful at reaching and enforcing the country, enforcing, so the agreement. Because if a country cheat, OPEC doesn't have any way to punish the country who cheat. So then the country didn't care about cheating, and they want to just think that by cheating they can increase the profit. So this led to fluctuation in oil prices. So which this fluctuation was driven by supply and demand. When supply increases, then price will decrease. And demand also, in developed countries, you have low season where people don't drive a lot. So demand is low. Then also price will decrease in that sense. The oligarchy game can also be applied to the arms race. So after World War II, the United States and the former Soviet Union, engaged in the prolonged competition over military power. So these two countries had strategy to build new weapons and also to disarm. So the dominant strategy was to disarm, to arm. So figure number three deal with an arms race, game between the U.S. And the Soviet Union, so USSR. So the dominant strategy, here is to arm, and then so the other decision is, disarm, disarm. So if both the U.S. and both USSR and the U.S. Arm, in that case, both countries will be at risk, which is the dominant strategy which might happen. So on the other end, both countries decide to disarm, so both countries will be safe, so in that case, which is the outcome would be good for the society. But this is the better outcome. This is the Nash equilibrium outcome. So another example of oligopoly game is the common resources. Two companies own a common pool of oil. So the strategy will be each company drill one well, each company drill a second well and get more oil. So the dominant strategy will be each company drill two wells, and this will lower the profit. Figure number four is a common resources game. So with Exxon and Texaco have to make decision either to build two wells or to build one well. So the dominant strategy is to build two wells. If both the Exxon and Texaco build two wells, both will get a $4 million profit, which is a dominant strategy. But on the other end, if both decide to build only one well, so both will get $5 million profit, which is so a better outcome for both companies. But this is a so the dominant strategy is a Nash equilibrium which is going to happen actually because both will try to cheat to build two wells. What is the dominant strategy? The dominant strategy is a non-cooperative equilibrium may be bad for society and the player. So in the case of arm race game, in the case of common resources game, may be good for society, the quantity and prices closer to optimal level. In a game of repetitive prisoner dilemma, so the process will be repeat the game to agree on penalty if one cheat, you know, both have incentive to cooperate. As long as the player care enough about future profit, they will choose to forego the one-time game, from defection. So the score at the end of the game is the total number of years in jail. So encourage cooperation between the players. Penalty for not cooperating will be paid by the player who cheat. So better strategy, so return to cooperative outcome after a period of non-cooperation. The best strategy when playing, repeat prisoner dilemma is tick for tax. So player start by cooperating, then do whatever the other player did last time. So start out friendly and penalize unfriendly player and forgive them if warranted.